What is going on, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to welcome you guys back to the show tonight. Let's go through something real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. And now,
Long overdue for this blackmail grifter within our space, Dr. Tiason Johnson. This guy teaches at Fresno State. Now, what's different with Tiason Johnson versus other PhDs or other academics within this space? He has access to a political science department where he actually works at. So there's no reason for him to be out here doing this emotional-based grifting that he's doing online, particularly looking for weak black men, by talking about this emotional labor of black men and all this stuff that has to do with domestic violence and all the kind of stuff. Dude, you're not even qualified to even talk about that. You're not even qualified to talk about that. You know how to do research. So what Tiason Johnson did in 2020 is he did the same thing that Ice Cube did in slightly before that. Remember when Ice Cube came out with this contract with Black America? He decided on his own to actually come up with a plan for the entire of Black America and take it to both sides of the political aisle. That he was going to negotiate by himself. Now, what Ice Cube did not know is that most of these things have already been passed by the Congressional Black Caucus and all the kind of other stuff. But what Ice Cube was trying to do is he was trying to renew his media contract for his Big 3 basketball thing. So he started inserting himself into politics on purpose to kind of push his big three thing, along with trying to pretend that he wanted to do political things. T.S. Johnson did the exact same thing, but T.S. Johnson did something worse than what Ice Cube did. T.S. Johnson came up with this blackmail agenda. Now, T.S. Johnson created an emotionally coded agenda. He never told nobody that he was third party. Never told nobody that he was third party. He created this Onyx network, the Onyx report. I know it sounds super black, right? So what he did is he crowdsourced blackmail ignorance and turned it into an emotionally coded policy report without telling nobody that he was third party. Now, T.S. Johnson lives in California. Liberal House, Liberal Senate, 2 liberal senators. Most of the House, well, before the redistricting, they had 1 Republican seat. Now they got rid of their Republican seat. So this guy's been living in California his whole life. So when this guy pretends that he's somehow helping out black men by coming up with this emotionally coded political agenda, and then he didn't take the agenda to anybody, but he was talking this blackmail agenda nonsense when the Democrats were in charge, or at least in charge of one of the House seats. But once the Republicans got in charge, he completely dropped his political commentary altogether. The reason why he dropped his political commentary altogether because you can only run this grift on black men on Democrats when the Democrats hold one of the seats or the other. Now, when the Republicans hold all of the power, people don't ask the Republicans for anything. And suddenly he has time for movie reviews and all this other stuff. But then again, he steps back into it by coming back and pretending that he's going to, quote unquote, help out the downtrodden black man. Like, what these people don't understand is there are 2 sides in this political house here. And you're going to choose one or the other. Now, when there was a ruling and decision on affirmative action in academics where he's at, he made no content about it. Want to know why? He's already in academia already. He's been there for 20 plus years. He don't really care about other people trying to get into academia at all. That's what you actually see with all these people who are actually in academia. Most of the people didn't even write any type of reports on it. When it came for the actual getting rid of the Voting Rights Act, again, a person who has a blackmail agenda doesn't understand with all this DEI stuff, dude, they've been getting rid of people across the country, federal government and whatnot. Did he do any content on it? Of course not. Why? He already got his. And this actual political agenda was always a grift. It was never meant to give you any type of real solutions. He lives in California. Liberalism works just fine in California. California works just fine. Works so fine that it actually pays for the entire South to run their third world experiment. And everybody seems to be okay with it. What's going on, man?
What's up, MOT? Sorry, man. I was just getting I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, you're talking kind of the real deal here right now. You're cooking pretty good on that. California is a very large state, running very well, fairly liberal, if you will. 6th largest economy on earth. All right, covering many, many red states. And here they are running in the red states a Jim Crow 2.0, an anti-black New Deal, disenfranchising black voters from there, and people from this state are saying nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But he has time for all this movie review and I'm a black masculinist. But hey, look, when the Republicans are in charge, there ain't no T.S. Johnson talking about actual political information here. Okay, he wants to run this emotional grift on these weak ass black men who actually think that building leverage through non-participation, somebody's gonna come kiss your ass. I'm sorry, they're not gonna go do that. They're just gonna go to other people who know how to show up and participate in the process. But he wants to hide behind the weakness of people who live in most of these southern areas, right? Who need all this representation that they just lost. But it was the wrong time to claim ADOS and the FBA and sit on the couch. Now you got even less power. I've seen the people in Memphis and Mississippi and Arkansas and Louisiana and Alabama going up there protesting. Hey, it's too late for all that. they, they already just wiped it clean, and nothing has changed in the South to where they needed to take away that type of representation in the first place.
And just look at what the economic conditions are even going to be worse, and these guys are going to have to be
responsible. Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
And then we look at it from a deeper level, from the state legislatures, which play a key role in drawing these maps. They're looking to further gerrymander down on that as well. So they're looking to remove as many of you out of there on the state level as well down there in the South. So it is an all-out attack on you. And many people are sitting back here now, now our back's against the wall. But you have few of these people who are out here talking about it. So when I ask them questions, I ask them questions about the Republicans, they get emotional and get angry, but yet they don't have an answer for why this is going on. No answer.
No answer at all. So what we're going to do is going to go over one of his videos about black men are just told to shut up and vote. No, black men are told to shut up and pick a side. Listen, there's only two sides here. One side is white supremacist light. You get some of your stuff done. The other side is white supremacist hard, and they don't really care. I'm just telling you, if you have these black individuals who show up to you and they don't know anything about the process, need to be brought up to speed, immediately kick them out the conversation. You're dealing with a troll, or you're dealing with a plant, or you're dealing with a person that you don't need to be dealing with. We don't have time for new friends. We have time for people who pick the side and want to participate. If you don't want to participate in the process, then you should shut the hell up about the process. There are, offshoot movements that make you feel good about non-participating. FBA, ADOS, there's a lot of providers out there that help individuals with their non-associating with the political process. And most of these people do live in liberal areas in red states or liberal areas in blue states. Like, I've never heard of a actual black Republican living in a totally conservative area that actually produces anything. I just never heard of that. So without further ado, let's go on with this. What we're going to do here, I'll drop a link to this in the actual chat. Unfair use. You have a right to remain ignorant. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have a right to factual information. Just because you did not go with factual information, that doesn't mean that we're going to be any easier on you than we're going to be right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to drop a load to this. And this is the actual live stream that we're going to be playing from. So that way we can pause it at certain points to show you just how ignorant a person who has a PhD is when it comes to politics, that actually have access to an actual political science department, but refused to do so before he formed his blackmail agenda, which was a grift. This whole honest report thing, listen, when you want black-only solutions, you're not interested in solutions. You just want a black person to bullshit you. I understand Black America sets you up for the Delta November, Rickroll, but you just keep falling for it. So let's just let's go for it.
Join, donate, hit the hype button, support the show, so we can continue to bring you this independent black male thought. A couple days ago, in the comment section of one of my videos, I had a commenter who suggested that I should stop talking about the gynocracy because we had just lost our right to vote. I kindly let him know that I will not be doing that, and he's welcome to cover whatever subjects he wants to on his own channel. But it isn't because I won't address the subject. I just don't like to be policed.
Okay, let's stop right there. To these grifters online, what they mean about the gynocracy is women-controlled environments that they are free to go pick other women that don't control those environments. But since these men don't have any options, none to the whatsoever, they sit around women that they know that they shouldn't be with and continuously complain about them. So T.S. Johnson have formulated a whole anti-black woman platform under the guise of trying to help black men out for some reason. But what he doesn't understand is how T.S. Johnson views the so-called gynocracy is how white conservatives view all black Americans. While he's trying to separate black men from the Democratic Party to somehow be in the middle and vote Republican, it's okay for him to live in liberalism in California, but you're going to not support the liberals in your area outside of California, which makes no sense. Nigga.
MOT, I don't think there's really much else I can say on it. That's perfectly stated.
Let's go ahead.
All right. That said, I thought we could have a very quick kind of dialogue about what's going on politically. Now, this is Northeastern Global News. I found articles by more famous news sources, but I like the way this one read, so I'm just going to use this one. But this deals with the whole question of, can states legally redraw congressional maps this close to an election, right? Supreme Court's ruling in Louisiana is already reshaping the fight over congressional redistricting ahead of the 2026 midterms, right? The Supreme Court's decision to reject Louisiana's most recent drawn congressional map due to what it called an illegal racial gerrymander could throw a wrench in the 2026 primaries, with several states now weighing whether to redraw districts or delay elections. The High Court's 6-3 ruling on April 29th effectively barred states from using race as a factor in drawing congressional maps, upholding a federal court decision that struck down Louisiana's 2024 map that contained a second majority black district. The state redrew its congressional map then to address concerns that its previous map had diluted its black population's voting power and a violation of the Voting Rights Act, a landmark piece of legislation signed into law in 1965 by former President Lyndon B. Johnson. Now, several states are attempting to scrap maps they previously drew to give their party a last-minute advantage ahead of voting. Typically redrawn every 10 years, congressional maps have become flashpoints in an escalating legal and political battle in blue and red states following the ruling. What does the Louisiana decision say? Supreme Court ruled Louisiana versus Caius, and I know I butchered that, more than likely. That Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which prohibits voting rules or practices that discriminate on the basis of race or color, did not require the state to create an additional majority-minority district, which is defined as a district in which racial or ethnic minorities make up at least half of the voting age population. In 2022, a federal judge found that the congressional map Louisiana had drawn that year violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The decision prompted lawmakers to redraw its map in 2024 to include another race-conscious district. About 1/3 of Louisiana's population is black, according to U.S. Census data, but only one of the state's 7 congressional districts was majority black. Writing for the majority, Justice Samuel Alito argued that requiring Louisiana to draw another majority black district, as the judge had in Robinson versus Landry, meant that the state had to sort voters predominantly by race in a way that conflicted with the Constitution's guarantee of equal treatment. So essentially, this takes us back to the Obama presidency, and it takes us back to the opportunity to add more Democratic, Supreme Court justices. And to my understanding, shout out to BGS, the idea was that Hillary was a shoo-in for the election. There was no way that...
What the fuck does this have to do with the Voting Rights Act?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Okay, so here's the thing. like what you have to understand with these anti-women based grifters, they always have to find a way to throw a woman under the bus in order to discuss politics. Now, the Voting Rights Act was pretty clear since it was passed. And the only people who pretty much 98% of the time who actually tried to dilute the black vote was actual conservatives. As in this case right here, where the maps were voted down a whole bunch of times, like across Alabama and everything else. But in this specific case, a January 6er, a Capitol rioter, was able to bring a case up to the Supreme Court to kind of get rid of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. which is the whole point of the Voting Rights Act, is so that way minorities can have representation in the South and the Midwest. Now, rather than understand what the Voting Rights Act is, he wanted to bring up Hillary Clinton and try to talk about gynocratic nonsense when it's very easy to understand why Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act was there. Not only that, but why they got rid of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And then you had everybody who wanted to rewrite their maps because they wanted to get rid of opportunity districts for actual minorities. Now, he has a political science department at Fresno State where he teaches at. So there's no real reason for him not to understand what Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is, and also all parts of the Voting Rights Act, because it covers his black ass anyway. But when you live in an actual liberal area that works, you really don't give a damn about liberal areas in other places that don't work, right? So that's just where we're at with that. Big J.
I got no comment. No comment. I just think that if he want to get all political, I'm daring any Democrat candidate. If you win, I want them to march his ass in front of the committee hearing and ask him, are you a hate group? And if not, what are you? And then ask him, okay, if you so about Black America and black men, how come you didn't meet us before Trump, or even when Biden was president? That's what I would like to see happen to Tia Son Johnson.
I mean, but this whole blackmail agenda thing is a grift. It was never meant to go. Trust me, I've checked Fresno. No one knows who this guy is. They know that he's a quiet guy who teaches at a university. But once you start showing people what this dude is up to in that area, like, oh, we can't wait for him to come to that door because he's gonna lose his job at the university as soon as people start seeing what's up with him for real. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna keep quiet. I'm just gonna let him do his thing over there, because at the end of the day, this blackmail grift thing online isn't something that a PhD should be actually doing. And to actually not know what the Voting Rights Act is, and you know how to do research, and you just find this off the wall article, so that way you can just try to discuss it without even touching what the actual issue is just asinine. Go.
But
the Big J. Let me get him. Yeah,
okay, I'm
sorry. MOT. Yeah, you're absolutely correct about that. And see, there were some other decisions that had come through, especially that 5-4 decision that actually happened in Alabama, that actually struck down the lower court decision to put forth this Alabama congressional map that was designed for one area, and they ended up making two that actually affirmed the application of what was actually a viable part of Section 2 of the VRA, and this was Roberts and Sotomayor and Kagan and Ketanji Brown actually joined in on that, and that became that upheld that part of the VRA then. But as we went into 2024, underneath 2025, of course, in 2026, as we moved in here with Trump, that game has actually changed. So they actually moved that. People, but people like, how would I say, this doctor here, the good doctor here, as they say, mentions nothing about this and talks about something that in my estimation is not even relevant. Not even relevant. But looking at how these guys are making a straight out political, racialized decision after they upheld a decision like this in 2023 is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. In that case is Allen versus Milligan, and you guys can actually look at that opinion breakdown online if you choose.
I mean, but it's been challenged so many times and been knocked down so many times. I mean, there's no like there's no legal argument against the Voting Rights Act, period. Okay, and it's like every time I talk to somebody about or someone tries to talk to me about the Voting Rights Act, I'm like, you know what? As soon as you have a legal argument, Look, I'll argue with you. And they just start talking about that's not a legal argument. You have a nice day. You got it. So
You can't link up any gynocracy or anything like this to this. It's madness. But that's the grift that these guys are on, and we gonna tear this out the frame.
yeah, Quizzy Prince, take yourself off mute.
Evening, gentlemen. How you doing?
Go
What's
ahead.
going on?
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's get relevant.
hey, I just was heavily involved with a little local campaign. My cousin was running for a town council seat, and I was talking to an older cousin of mine. I call him my Uncle Sam. And these kind of agitators, I experienced live, and I wanted to finally be about it instead of talking about it, involved in the campaign. People like Tia Son Johnson, all these little agitators was all involved in my cousin losing. And there was our people against our own people, against us progressing. Like you said, MOT, you work at a university. Wouldn't it be more wise you do research and tell people to get, involved in politics to, vote for a president that can get your judges in position so you can get what you want? You skipped over that whole part, but you just want to blame Obama and Hillary Clinton. I mean, what are we doing here? What is going on? And people actually listen to this man.
No. I mean, they listen to him because they want to be alleviated from the fact that nobody wants to deal with weird ass men in society. So he gives them the actual moniker of, oh, the emotional labor of black men, or else some nonsense that he talk about the that gynocracy is holding you back. It's like the gynocracy is not holding you back from doing anything. If you're not actually a productive man in society, you shouldn't get access to women, period. And if you're just a weird ass dude who ain't got your stuff together and you hang around this relationship stuff, you're gonna chase women off. They can smell weird ninja on you a mile away, right? So you don't have a real problem. Like the problem was you couldn't appeal to nobody in society, and so they came and they deliberately marketed toward these broken individuals and deliberately filled the manosphere with these stupid ass individuals. So that way we can't talk about rational things. Because there was a lot of broken people that he's in his 50s. So he did overwatch all this stuff being created. But he wants to make money off of these people by giving them intellectual sounding excuses about how come they're failures in society. Because this guy is not out there a working class dude like anybody else. He's in academia, which means he's about perpetuating BS conversations with no access or regard to factual information or progress. Big J, you got anything else before we go forward? Yes,
All right, MOT, let's move.
All right. God. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold on. It's not clicking for some reason. Why did it pause? Or hold on a second.
She was going to lose to Trump. So there was a kind of dragging of the feet, as it were, in terms of electing justices. She undermined her opponent, right? Bernie Sanders, who was suggested to have a better chance of beating Trump than she, but it fell apart. White women jumped ship, voted Trump.
What does this have to do with the Voting Rights Act? That's what the actual article was about.
Trump got in office, and of course, we've seen nothing but conservative justices ever since, right? So this kind of goes back a little and sets the frame for what I think is a pretty inevitable consequence of not shoring up those positions for the Democratic Party. And it's going to be the case for quite a while. Because as you know, these Supreme Court justices tend to damn near die in office, right? So they're going to be holding on to these positions for quite a while, right? So anyway, meant that the state had to sort voters predominantly by race in a way that conflicted with the Constitution's guarantee of equal treatment. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was designed to enforce the Constitution, not collide with it, Alito wrote. Unfortunately, lower courts have sometimes applied this court's Section 2 precedents in a way that forces states to engage in the very race-based discrimination the Constitution forbids.
Like you would find one of these articles that does not understand the Voting Rights Act for you to cite as if you're talking about the Voting Rights Act. Now, as a person who knows how to do research, you could have went to Politico or anywhere else and talked about an actual article that broke down what the Voting Rights Act was and how it's always upheld. But he went and found him an article that kind of gives him the ability to try to act like he's not real sure about what the Voting Rights Act is for, and it's just nonsense. There you go.
That's absolutely true, because if you wanted to talk about that article and what really breaks down the Voting Rights Act Section 2 was the decision that I just talked about, Allen versus Milligan in Alabama. And it's right there, something that he could easily have gone to, of which they upheld and created 2 black districts. Now they eliminated once the Trumpers got in and started playing their game, and then this is what Roberts ended up doing when he turned around and then cut the nuts out of it of his own decision that he had supported back in 2023. Very significant. He could have mentioned this, never even came up.
Big J and Chris Prince, before I keep going forward.
I just want to go ahead. I'm sorry, BJ.
No. You go ahead, friends. Go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that could Tia Son Johnson talk about how Mitch McConnell held up the vote when Obama at the end of his presidency to put a justice in position, and Mitch McConnell said, "Well, the people should decide in the next election." That's not the proper procedure, but he skips over that just to. So I reckon so he can continue his next grift into this next political midterm.
Yeah.
And Prince is right, because this is when Justice Alito died in 2016, 2015, latter part 2015, and so that was when they tried to get Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland and cut him back.
Yeah,
and then fast track Coney Barrett and these guys in after RBG and them came through. So
right.
Fast track them through. So we see exactly what's going on. But listen, I'm not expecting these guys to come in on this. We're not expecting them to do that. What we're doing is showing up exactly where these guys have been short on this, and where this grift is a crock. And then these guys want to sit back and say, we don't know what we're talking about. And then you look at exactly what these guys are talking about here. And then you have somebody with a PhD who has, in my view, the true ability to research and get hard data and look at what the facts are, and is coming up with this inveterate bullshit is unreal.
Yeah, but it's purposeful too. I mean, he purposeful found an article, that helps him bullshit himself like he's talking about the Voting Rights Act when he's clearly not. So let's keep going.
States responding to the decision, I think it's going to be a mess, with lots of Republican-leaning states trying to redraw their districts immediately, said Dan Ehrman, director of the Law and Public Policy minor at Northeastern University, who teaches courses on the Supreme Court. Tennessee Republicans on Wednesday unveiled a new congressional map that would split Memphis and Shelby County into 3 districts, a move that could help Republicans flip Tennessee's only remaining Democratic congressional seat. Alabama also introduced a new map during a special session this week before adjourning on Wednesday due to protests. Right? In Florida, DeSantis signed into law a new congressional map expected to favor Republicans in several additional House districts, which prompted a swift legal challenge from opponents. Similar redistricting discussions are underway in states such as Georgia, South Carolina, Texas, as Republicans seek to capitalize on the court's ruling. Can states legally redraw their maps this close to an election? In prior years, the Supreme Court has held that if voting is a few months away, the state must use the existing map and save redrawn maps for future elections, Ehrman said. That rule is known as the Purcell Principle, a doctrine established in a case called Purcell versus Gonzalez that cautions courts against changing election rules too close to an election. Decided in 2006, the Supreme Court said that courts should avoid altering election procedures close to an election because doing so can confuse voters and disrupt the administration of elections. Right? Based on Supreme Court precedent, it should be too late this cycle, but you never know, Ehrman said, adding that precedent is only as strong as the justices willing to enforce it. Right? Yeah, this is almost over. How will the decision affect primary voting? In Louisiana, Governor Jeff Landry suspended his state's primary election schedule for next month to allow state lawmakers to redraw the map. That is despite the fact that Louisiana voters had already cast absentee ballots. Right? The move could test the longstanding guidance cautioning against changing election procedures too close to voting deadlines. The decision could also trigger disputes over ballot access, candidate qualification deadlines, and whether absentee ballots remain valid if district lines are redrawn before the election. We will see how lower courts respond to the Louisiana governor's executive order to delay the election, even though voters in the state have already cast ballots for the May primary. This case and others like it probably end up on the Supreme Court's emergency docket or shadow docket, where the court has to weigh in before the lawsuit is complete. Now, basically, what we have is a rolling back of civil rights policy, and we've been seeing this on a number of fronts since the civil rights, from Reagan to Trump. We've been seeing the rolling back of various policies here and there, right? And the whole question being posed, to me anyway, was whether or not black men should shut up and get back to the business of the black community's interest. And I would argue that black men speaking aloud is the black community's issue. It's one of the major issues. And here's the problem. Part of the problem is that black men have been silent about their own political issues. And they've been silent a long time. As a matter of fact, to this day, when you see the majority of on-the-street interviews of black men regarding politics, when they're asked what their political interests are, they're usually Democratic. There are some that are conservative and so on and so forth. But very rarely do you see black men who can articulate politically what black.
And most of them are your audience members.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, like, listen, the reason why they don't talk to most black people, because most black people don't know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to politics. They don't even invite black liberals and black conservatives on to even be together in the same room to be interviewed about politics, because they know black conservative is a hustle and a con. And you're not to put these two people together because they're going to be fireworks. Because, it's going to be one side doing the buck dance and then the actual racial trolling, and while you're trying to do a political based conversation. So you have to understand it is deliberate and on purpose that people do not understand politics. If they taught it in the Mississippi Delta in 7th and 8th grade in my high school, then they taught it everywhere else. And there's no reason for me to know more about politics than people who live in these mostly liberal areas in these blue states, and definitely these liberal areas in the South and red states.
I'm a hazard a guess. I want to know, what is the racial makeup of the university in Fresno?
Fresno.
I want to know. Yeah, Fresno. I really want to know what's the racial makeup of his university. See, like that. That needs to be asked, huh?
It's Fresno, man. It's not. It's not a majority black university. It's not.
Right, I know that, but I'm just asking that's a rhetorical question, because the thing is, if he was really on that black stuff, he would have contacted the black union or any black organization around in his university. Most university has a black organization.
Yeah, but PWIs love mediocre black men like fucking T.L. Sean Johnson. They love people who actually fight in ineffective ways. They love that shit. They love it. And
then though, I want to know, because I really want to go into this. Does anybody in the student body knows about this hate group called the Black Manosphere, quote unquote? And he's over doing this Oxy report, which talking about financial A word.
Oh my goodness.
I
Oh my
mean, but
goodness.
like again, these
Okay, I can tell you right
mediocre
now.
men go and get lots of education. This dude studied to be a feminist. He said it himself that he went to study to be a feminist. Like, what type of job you thought you was gonna get being a fucking dude who majored in feminist? It's like, okay, so what these people do is they hide behind blackmail ignorance of the actual political process itself. They do that on purpose. So that way
Okay.
they can create a victim class out of people that they can just apathy mind and just thrash them with information that doesn't make any sense over and over and over again. Like, as stupid as this guy is playing, he ain't stupid at all. He's being very deliberate in what he's actually doing and talking about.
All right.
Stupid would be like
Oh,
when angry man tried to
hold
be
on
on
one
the
second. Hold on
political.
a second. Let me say this very quickly. I just want to answer a quick question. The ethnic breakdown, Fresno State. That's where he's at. Black population, African Americans, 3%. Okay, go ahead, guys.
See, see, see now. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
I mean, well, they love for they would love for you remember when Angry Man got on there talking to a guy about politics and he was blaming the black women and the guy was like, "What are you talking about? I don't know what how does this even what does this have to do about the political topic we talking about?"
And then he
I mean, they
called up another person, and they both held up that Iwo Jima L, where the guy with purple hair had to tell them that they don't give a shit about your women that you can't control. Pretty much.
yeah. I mean,
Unbelievable.
this is they love the people like that. They would love to have them on that make us all look ignorant. And like you say, this Tia Son Johnson, he knows this, and this just the grift is going to more metamorph into something else as soon as these elections come closer. They can't come with the same grift before, and they're gonna have to metamorph into something else because it's not gonna work. We keep going backwards the way you say do it. He's sitting here talking about men, black men voices silent. That's their own fault. They didn't want to get involved in
That's what
politics.
I'm saying. It's like, oh, they've been silent for too long. It's like, dude, it literally happens every 2 years. Like the only and look, they're only going to email and text the people who previously showed up, right? So you can't expect the benefits of a democracy and then you want to participate like an illegal immigrant. Like that's not how politics work, man. But don't, I'm not doing that with people, man.
That's how they wanted to work.
I am
But
not bringing any Delta Novembers up to speed about what's happening in Colorado. Like the dude's like, well, you know what? I live here and nothing been going on. Well, what they doing in Colorado? I'm like, why on earth would I tell you what's going on in the state of Colorado when you decided to live in the area and not participate? There is no Brown versus Board of Education moment where we're gonna pass something in Colorado that's gonna cover you in the state where you chose to live. And it's like, dude, you have to choose to be this dumb and ignorant about politics. Okay. I don't bring people up to speed with politics. If you don't know what you're talking about, the conversation is going to move from you. And the only thing you stuck doing is like, well, you know what? If you don't allow me to just be a part of your conversation, I'm not going to. I'm like, cool. That's a local area for you, not me. So my area works fine. So if you don't have a political voice, that means you probably live in an area that you shouldn't live in, and you get to move to another area whenever you want to. But if you're in an area that don't work, that's a you problem, man. And look, there's a lot of people who live in areas that don't work and they're just fine with it. And they still show up, participate, take people to the polls and all this other stuff. They do that. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to be a United States citizen, like all the way. This whole undocumented immigrant shit, hoping for the best, nah, man, ain't nobody got time for that. None. So let's keep going here.
Black men need as a collective. let alone the black community. And in fact, I think the most of the, I shouldn't say let alone, most of the time when we're interviewed, we talk from a black.
Okay, so when somebody is talking about the black community, they're grifting. Period. Because politics is not a black community based issue. 50 separate states, different territories in the states. Most and this is a guy who live in an area that works. Liberal ass California works. He may be at a PWI, but that system does not need him. Period. And come on, man, you know he's a DEI hire. Come on, man. Africana Studies, predominantly white institution, don't know how to fight, talking all this crazy shit. Of course you work at a white university. Of
And
course.
and plus though, I want to know. See, I'm gonna start asking actual real questions here. Is there any black organizations at that university, and has they been contacted? If he's on this black, has any black organizations in that university has been contacted, or they know of him?
Well, I certainly know you have my fraternity. You have an Alpha Phi Alpha chapter there. I don't know what other organization. I mean, so you'll have some Black Greek letter organizations, but outside of that, besides maybe some Black Student Union um, uh, organizations, possibly, it would be interesting to know that, but don't know.
All right, let's keep going here.
Communal standpoint. I've been saying this for years. Black men in many ways still think politically in terms of, how the African American community has kind of shaped itself since the 1970s, going from, Black Power era through Jesse Jackson, African American, so on and so forth. We still think in terms of those ideas about the Black community. The problem is that Black women have been operating as their own separate demographic for years, for decades now, most particularly since the 1980s. They have conceptualized themselves, right?
See?
The Supreme Court's decision to reject Louisiana's most.
See what I'm saying?
Oh, oh,
Wow.
He wanted to turn. He wanted to turn. Like he doesn't understand. Well, he does understand. He's doing this on purpose, but he's trying to wrap black a quarter on off area for black men and pretend like we are a different group of people that need to be separately voting, not with black women's interests. Not understanding that black women are still black people who have black children, who have black husbands, right?
Boyfriends,
Who have black sons?
Yeah.
Yeah. And these same black women have what? Oh, black sons.
Yeah, and so what this emotional grifter does is he's trying to create this victim class out of black men, so that way you don't vote Democrat in your area, but he can exist within the whole democratic system where he lives at. Like he's not giving up his liberal stuff, but he wants you to give up your liberal stuff where you live at. Right? Unbelievable.
I say it again. These people always they love liberal stuff, but they want to rah conservative and Republican talking points.
But he's living in a liberal state.
He has nothing to say about the red states coming. He has nothing to say about them red states coming after his blue state, but he wants to go backwards in time. So we can, I don't understand it. I don't. I mean,
listen,
these red states want to take everything away from California. He ain't gonna say nothing about that.
If you're stupid enough to let a 400-pound hair hat tell you that your interest is not the same as black women in these actual southern areas, something is wrong with you. And look, I don't have any respect for people who don't understand history, and I definitely don't have any respect for anybody who don't participate in the political process. That means you should have no complaints because things are fine, period. And at the end of the day, I don't understand the actual idea of a guy who's trying to put black men as a separate institution when he lives in a liberal area. and claims to be middle of the road when he lives in a liberal area, teaches at a liberal institution in a liberal state, a House and Senate liberal, Supreme Court liberal. But he wants to tell black men that they ought to be this separate group of people everywhere else except for where he's at.
and,
Unreal.
and to get mad at the black women because they decide to use their voice and participate.
Yes, and organize for things. And then this guy actually think that the black women are supposed to be giving away everything that they organize to dudes who don't organize. That's not how that works.
Hey,
That ain't how that works.
I I
So true.
see I see. Like I said, I participated in my cousin running for town council, and I got my hands dirty and muddy. And when you start really participating, that is brutal
It's hit
on a little
it, dude,
small
it hits
local level.
differently. It hits differently.
And you don't know what's the forces that's stopping you for just get if they had a law to stop you from getting a toothpick, you don't know the forces behind it that's gonna stop you from getting that toothpick. And these people don't even want to scratch the surface to get nothing they want.
They just want somebody else to do it for them, and they want to pretend like they're holding this hostage. That oh, I'm almost gonna vote for you. Just put my name on everything, and then I'll vote for you next time. It's like, man, get the fuck out of here, man.
You give me 90%, but that other 10%, if you don't give it to me, well, I mean,
I mean,
you
it's
ain't gonna you
environmental. Yeah, let's keep going.
Can confuse voters and disrupt the administration of elections. Right? Based on Supreme Court precedent, it should be what we have is a rolling back of civil rights. Black men, in many ways, still think politically um, in terms of how the African American community has kind of shaped itself since the 1970s, going from Black Power era through Jesse Jackson, African American, so on and so forth. We still think in terms of those ideas about the Black community. The problem is that Black women have been operating as their own separate demographic for years, for decades now, most particularly since the 1980s. They have conceptualized themselves as a separate entity. Again, invoking Ice Cube and the Cocktails with Queens. This is the moment. This is what I call a Black masculinist turn. This is the moment where Black men realized how bad this has gotten. But this has been happening for decades. I grew up as Generation X. I came up in the era.
Okay, so there's no such thing as a black masculinist. Okay, I have to stop that right there. Like a black masculinist is a term that he made up for himself. No, he just created a job for himself called a black masculinist. Right? There's no such thing as a black masculinist. Period. A black masculinist is nothing but a feminist analog. Right? You know how these people want to complain about feminists, how they sit around, they do stuff all day, they don't produce anything or anything else. This is what this dude is. He created a job for himself as a black masculinist. As a stereotypical black feminist looking man, and he just want to sit around and complain about women all day. Like the analog, how women want to complain about men all day, right? And it's like you can't sit here and you
All right,
can't
all
do it.
right.
You just can't, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense for a person to create a name for himself. Like, there's no like, okay, we have billionaires that are black in this country. Nobody called
mm,
himself a black masculinist. Nobody. I mean, you have movie stars. Nobody called himself a white masculinist. Like this is what I mean by these made up terms, by these unsuccessful, mediocre ass men who just chill out in academia and teach bullshit ass courses while people have to actually come out here and do work for a living. And the only thing you want to do is create a victim class of the people who don't know what the hell's going on with politics, man. That's crazy. Black masculinity. What kind of shit is that? Ben,
they don't want to understand what's going on in politics.
And here is the thing, right? Is if you actually do your research, when Marilyn Berry was mayor of DC during the 80s and 90s, That was a black man in politics. The Black City Council of D.C. What about the Black City Council members in New Orleans? What about the black people up there in Detroit? For him to sit there and say that because they were full of black men doing politics and doing policy. So where does they did it from the 1980s? Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense.
This is a dude who do live streams with swords and action figures behind him. Call himself a fucking masculinist. What's man? What? Oh. Let's keep going, man.
From Reagan to Trump, we've been seeing the rolling back.
Let's keep going.
They were setting up nonprofits and getting federal funding to deliver services primarily to black women, from everything from pregnancy to basket weaving. I've seen it at academic.
That's not true. They shared it with black people in total. How the fuck can you possibly say that when women set up these organizations that they've never shared shit with men? And okay, if they did that, how come you didn't fucking organize to set up shit for yourself? This is what I mean by these weak ass men who just want to benefit off of everybody else's organization and try to create a victim class because they're not included. You're not included because you didn't organize shit. That's how it works. People get shit when they organize. If you didn't, okay, where all these black male organizations that are not grifter and like actually entertainment based, that are actually organizing shit for a political party? Most of these dudes online don't even want to pick a side. They live in liberal areas and they don't even want to admit that they are even indeed liberal themselves, but live in a liberal area and refuse to move to a conservative area. But everybody's supposed to kiss your ass and like, man, get out of here with that. Again, this guy teaches at a university. It'd be different if this was like some black conservative fraud who buck dances for a white audience. No, this dude actually has education and a credential and know how to do research. And this is the level of which he talks about because he gets to do this shit at a PWI. Be fucking useless in front of people. People can see how useless this person is. They see it. They love it. They love useless fucking black men like this who actually want to demoralize other fucking black men and turn them into a victim class so that way they don't participate in the process appropriately and try to gather power appropriately. They love intellectual, straitjacket, dumb motherfuckers like this. They love these type of people. And then and that's why they hire them at PWIs. So that way they can show off their black prize for $60,000 or $70,000 a year. Look at how they can have a buck dancing dude, noodle back motherfucker, just sit here and just be weak on purpose. Fucking crazy.
Conferences where women took over academic organizations and prioritized, right, black feminist issues. This is the era of feminization, right? So they were riding the wave that white women started, right? And this is why it's the 1980s when you
what are you doing to fix it, black masculinist motherfucker? What are you doing to fix it? Nothing. Live streaming.
really begin to see black. Now, conceptually, I think the discourse starts in the 70s. I mean, we can if you really want to, you could trace it back to the 1800s, but I think that's more of a construction. I think it's really in the 60s, 70s, and 80s that you see it begin to progress. And since the 80s, it's only mushroomed, right? And it's only in the last 5 or 6 years that black men are starting to understand that this is an ongoing thing. Now, I think initially many black men took it progressively on the chin. We just said, well, that's those are our wives, our sisters, our mothers, and they're calling for, justice for black women and fair treatment, and we supported it. I mean, again, black men are credited as being the most progressive men across the board. You can find some stats, shout out to Tommy Curry, where black men are more progressive than black women, on a lot of issues.
Well, why not vote for the Progressive Party by default? If that's the case, why not? What's going on here, man?
Oh, the double tongue of the serpent.
Oh boy. Oh man. Wow.
Let's keep going.
Including feminism. You go back far enough, depending on which studies you look at, black men have been far more progressive on a variety of issues sometimes more so than black women themselves. So when we saw them advocating for themselves, much of the time we just said, hey, cool, she's doing her thing. Black women have been doing this for the longest, so on and so forth. But it took some serious moments. The death of Kevin Samuels is one of those. The Ice Cube and Cocktails with Queens is one of those. The Democrats.
The death of Kevin Samuels has to do with him not having insurance. Okay? Kevin Samuels was not changing anything for people in society. Okay? What he was doing, he was dusting off some of the worst women on the planet to serve those women up to unsuspecting dudes. I don't think that's a positive thing. It ain't bad. It ain't wrong. It's effing evil. Okay? That guy was not doing positive things. Look,
Liberal
if you're a
women.
woman, and look, if you're a woman, Kevin Samuels was there to help you get another dude that you didn't deserve. But if you was a dude, that dude was trying to serve you up to the actual thumbnail on the screen. The thumbnail is not lying. He wants you stuck to a damn velociraptor. He wanted to ride your ass right back into that community. He wanted to slather some trauma bond Hassan on the back of that reptile and get your ass right back in there. So that way you can have them predictable ass bad outcomes. So that way you can come back to these people online for alleviation from it. That's a you problem.
A vicious cycle, they said. Oh my God.
A vicious cycle. Giving fresh babies to dudes with no experience from women that had way too much experience of the wrong kind. And this is the type of people that they wanted to actually go after when there was actually literal people who could help you not dodge that. But no, they wanted to listen to some online fairy talk about, candlelit in some room talking to ran-throughs. Man, fuck out of here.
Damn.
Declaring black women as mothers of the movement is one of those. Right? There are these, I call them black masculinist terms, and I talk about the 3 different types in my book. But my point is, it's these moments where black men began to really realize that something is changing. I even talked about it in terms of commercials. I talked about it in terms of Black History Month. I've been talking about this for several years. It's on a few shows ago. I talked about how there's, Black History Month has now expanded into 3 months, essentially, but it's become Black Women's History Month for 3 months, especially in the Black community. But long before that happened, I was talking about how Black History Month.
Okay, so there's no such thing as Black History Month turned into a 90-day thing to just cover black women. Now, unless you're stupid as shit and you don't understand history at all, so that way you allow this victimhood seller to assign you some fake ass history that is not happening. That's what happens when you don't know shit. When you don't know shit, these grifters run right in and they fill your head full of a bunch of bullshit that ain't happening. Like not knowing the history of the country is a you problem. It's not a societal issue. Your self-esteem, low self-esteem, is a you problem. You not know what's going on, you problem. You need to be brought up to speed, you problem. You ain't got your shit together to where you can't attract anything else other than people gonna ruin your life, you problem. And when you don't fix your you problems and you outsource it to online bullshit artists and actual fake black masculinists online, that's a you problem. Still a you problem. You think that some dude dressed in a suit, candlelit in some fucking closet is gonna get your fucking woman straight that you chose to have a fucking kid with? You problem. That's your weak ass. I couldn't imagine my father sitting me down with some fucking YouTuber telling me this is who you need to talk to or listen to about how to do stuff. No, he told me what to do. Grandfather told me what to do, what to stay away from. Not hard. But what it is this sheer lack of masculinity that these grifters want to fill the void for, and they want to fill these dudes with victimhood rather than giving them realistic things. This dude's been in academia 20 plus years. That dude haven't touched real ground, real grass, had a real paycheck in 20 some years outside of teaching some bullshit ass philosophy that he wrote the actual syllabus for fucking 10 years ago. Teaching the same bullshit over and over. He had to go find this article specifically so that way he could dodge the issue and start talking shit about feminists rather than address the issue of the Voting Rights Act. Notice how we're talking more about women and not the Voting Rights Act? That's why he teaches at this PWI. You think the white folks don't know that they hired a fucking useless ass black motherfucker like this? You think they don't know that? You think they don't know that? Fuck out of here.
Of course they did.
Of course they knew they hired some useless motherfucker like this. This is want to blame women, black women for anything. So what are you supposed to do? And this was a dude who actually bragged when black women lost their funding with Goldman Sachs. This dude right here, Dr. Tia Son Johnson, was bragging about black men ain't shedding no tears over that shit. Turned out that shit ballooned into a whole bunch of other shit. Because you just wanted black women to lose shit because black men wasn't included in it. Yeah, but they share shit with black men too and black families too. This is what's obviously wrong with these grifters online and the black manosphere in general. They made an actual editorial decision to market toward broken, stupid, and useless men who don't know shit about anything. So the only thing that they have left is to grief the entire process and the whole hostages when they should be actually forming collaborative groups. But if you're a saboteur, you can't collaborate with nobody.
Yep.
Let's keep going.
Was shifting in focus. And you can even watch television commercials about Black History Month where it would eliminate black men. And they would play those commercials all the way through Women's History Month, right? So, but we looked at all of those things and we just kind of, for the most part, assumed that black women's political interests were still in line with our own. So in 2020, right here on the Onyx Report, when the members of the Onyx Report began to create the black male political...
Oh. No, nigga. You created that shit and you crowdsourced black male ignorance and turned it to a fucking political document. Don't blame black men for this shit. You teach at a university that has a political science department. You could have got direction on how to do this shit appropriately, but you deliberately allow black male ignorance to talk about child support and other type of stupid shit so that way you could pretend like you was giving these people some representation that you didn't fucking change. Nothing has changed in California. Nothing. Worst place to get married. Worst place to get divorced. Worst place to have a child custody fucking dispute. Your fucking state. Your state. Right? He blaming the members that he was grifting off of for creating a political plan that he was fucking heading. Unbelievable. Listen to this shit.
Political agenda. We started to ask the question, did we have a political focus of our own? Do black men have a focus? And you got to understand the kind of intellectual lineage of this idea, at least for me, coming out of black male studies. Right. The idea was, well, as a community, we had always functioned where our politics were rooted in our communal focus. And for a long time, that was rooted through the church. Right. As soon as the earliest black churches could form legally in the United States, the focus, our political focus began to take shape because that was the space where we could articulate it, we could shape it over generations, so on and so forth. So as black women began to develop their own focus, riding on the wave of feminism, whenever gender came up, it was synonymous with women and girls. And then eventually it began to include LGBT. But straight men were supposed to shut up and be quiet and just toe the line on what was considered black, right? Problem with that is, by the time I started dealing with black male studies, what I realized is that for every mention of gender and the assumption...
There's no such thing as black male studies. His grift of black male studies is a Patreon-only exclusive thing. What's going on, man? What's going on, cynical one? Yeah, his black male studies is a Patreon exclusive thing where you have to be a Patreon of his to actually study things about black male studies. You have to be a Patreon of his. Right. And even though there's 19 point agenda on the screen, if you actually want a copy, you have to buy it. Right. And here's the thing. I want three things. This person right here is not stupid and not dumb. He works at a PWI. He is effing useless. That's why he's there. Okay. They love having these dudes on a string who are completely useless, completely feckless, who want to provide intellectual terms for people's shortcomings so that way they can stay there. He's not trying to pull you out of this and make you an actual participant in society. He wants you to believe in victimhood. You are a victim because nobody's concentrating on you, which is nuts. This is a PhD who crowdsourced black male ignorance and grew it with black men. And then he blamed the ignorant motherfuckers that he deliberately attracted. And that's how come the 19-point agenda has a bunch of racial-based bullshit that is never gonna fucking happen. Like black male only reparations, like child support reform. When that shit ain't happening in your motherfucking state where you live at. Because all these dudes are trying to deal with the actual consequences of just choosing the wrong fucking women. Okay? It's not a big deal.
And the gender only applied to women and LGBT, what I found was that there were issues pertinent to straight black men that were gendered, quote unquote, but weren't regarded as gendered because the popular idea of gender is female. And so black male studies helped me to kind of begin to shape a perspective of
what the fuck is black male studies, bro? This is an online grift. It's an online grift that is on Patreon only. Okay? Pediatric studies. It's studies that's in college. Native American studies. It's studies that's in college. Feminist studies. Some shit he did, actually. It's studies that's in college. There ain't no motherfucking black male studies. Your black male studies is a grift that's on Patreon. This shit ain't taught no motherfucking colleges, and you ain't even pushing for it. You really think they're gonna let you teach some fucking black male studies at that fucking PWI where you at, man? Are you kidding me? They want you to complain about feminism. Weak men complain about feminism. And here's the thing. Tia Son Johnson has a son. Was married to a decent woman. There's no real reason for him to be running this grift because that ain't his fucking life. And he's 50 years old. He overwatched these kids be created. And the best thing that this dude got is trying to ride these dudes right back into the same circumstances that they could avoid. Yes. Only thing I do is get your stuff together, leave these toxic women the fuck alone. There's no real reason to make an actual full-time job out of complaining about women online. It's fucking crazy. This is some shit untalented men decided to do.
Damn.
I have never seen a masculine fucking man walk around complaining about fucking feminism. My dad never did that shit. My grandfather never did that shit. The only motherfuckers complain about child support is the motherfuckers who lost the fucking contest to motherfuckers that they shouldn't have been fucking with in the first place. That's right. All my uncles, the younger ones, and my older cousins who was damn near their age, who knew so much about women, turned out they all lost the hose. Every single fucking one of them. Every single one of them claimed that they knew so much about fucking women, and they all lost the women. nearly 100% fucking clip. And these dudes was trying to tell me how to fucking get women. The same dudes who lost the women, they was trying to fucking put me off on my productive ass, off on putting another baby in their baby mama so that way I could take care of their whole family. You the man, fuck that. That's what these older clowns was doing, man. And these dudes are still around. Why do you think most of these people online who are talking about relationships don't even fucking have one?
Facts.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, facts. And talking about child support, I'm gonna call it. Well, that's been solved in a handful of states. And yet he not named not one state that has solved the child support issue when it comes to the disparities between men and women. He need not name not one state yet.
Actually, you know what? The women solved the child support issue by not fucking these dudes. They solved the issue. So these dudes who complain about child support, dude, listen, man, these dudes can't even get a bitch pregnant. They can't even get access to even have the complaints about women.
And might I add,
that's what's happening here.
The government tried to help them to avoid child support by giving them free contraceptives. They didn't want to take them, but they want to talk bad about the government and women when the government tried to help them for free.
And
Just
Wait,
saying.
wait, 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 wait.
Prince also.
Whoa, wait a minute. You mean to tell me the Black Manosphere was in charge of shoveling all these dumbass nigga kids in these fucking communities? The Black Manosphere just showed up like fucking 10 to 15 years ago. All these dumb niggas was put here way before the Black Manosphere even exists. I don't even know how the fuck you can you blame the Black Manosphere for what the fuck happened in the black community? What? What?
See,
Man, what's going on here?
see. We have a problem on both ends because Mary just got here in 2017. He wasn't around here before that. He wasn't here before. So if he was here at the beginning, go ahead, it's your show.
No, Amiri. The part of the conversation that is not being had is the women and the men who put these kids here with no leadership. And then they wasn't even attracted to men who had their shit together. They were attracted to men who put out bullshit. That ain't something the Black Manosphere done. Dudes who came here on this game shit, that wasn't Black Manosphere doing that. They were the dudes who stayed in the community who did that. Amiri, the Black Manosphere is not culpable with that. Most of these dudes are sexless men here. These dudes are sexless men who would do anything for sexual access. They can't get women. That's why they're here complaining about women. The Black man now the Black Manosphere have exploited these men. Now I'm willing to go that far. The Black Manosphere did exploit these sexless men and giving them bullshit complaints from the standpoint of failed men. Now, the Black Manosphere did do that, but the people chose that as information. There was always working class people here. They chose to go listen to former pimps, drug dealers, game sellers. They chose that shit. They chose that shit over working class men. They did choose that. And you got to let these people fail hard because they chose that. Right? Like, look, these outcomes that are here now, it is not shocking to anybody about how we got here. I don't even have to go into what I saw as a child in my community that I was made to shut my mouth up for because, you know, you stopping the flow of the putty if you actually are talking about how older Generation X, my generation, but far older, was hollering out these women at 12 and 13 years old. That's way before the Black Manosphere. That's way before rap music. That's way before a lot of shit. Black Manosphere is not culpable on that level. Hell no, the Black Manosphere. Now, exploiting these dudes and giving them fake solutions, I will agree with you there. But the Black Manosphere is just not culpable on that level of putting these people here. No. Look,
Amiri, there's a Manosphere man. I mean, you heard of him, Minister Jap. He put out a video today of red pill racism. Now, mind you, he helped contribute to that. But now he's complaining about the red pill racism.
God.
It was part of the Manosphere.
I mean, dude, Minister Jap been on this shit 13, 14, like as long as I've been here. Red pill racism. It's like, dude, he was the one who teamed up with these motherfuckers.
Yeah, you the one team up.
Right.
We got these. Now we got the problem. And look. I mean, I hope this. I mean, us moving backwards is like the light bulb is coming on some of these men head, cause the right wing Heritage Foundation people, they are not playing. They want us backwards in time of you walking down the street holding your head down, and they think it's
and at the end of the day, they want you fighting black women, and they want you fighting the damn gender war, so that way you won't team up together and fight their motherfucking ass.
and this is the reason why this is the reason why I agree with the whole concept of they need to be stowed on, they need to be removed, they need to be eradicated. And I'm fully, because like every time you try and talk and try and tell them what's the real problem is, they get them in the way of it. They try to tell you it's Keisha's problem. It's they always use this phrase, it's Jermaine's fault, rather than dealing with education, unemployment, housing. See, the housing market is really part of the reason why marriages went down, but they don't want to talk about that part. Now that should be the first thing to come out of a black man's mouth, is about housing and education. But it's all Keisha's fault. It's not the institution's fault.
Well,
All
man,
right.
That's
okay.
my problem.
So, May, like, those are legitimate courses, and especially from the UK, you know, they're not going to let somebody be on some bullshit. But what Tia Johnson is talking about is a separate sect of black male studies, right? It's a separate sect of black male studies, which is some bullshit. So, what I'm going to do here, we're going to take a pause from this actual live stream, and I'm going to show you what Tia Johnson means by black male studies and the black man that he actually wants to focus. So hold on a second while I actually pull this up, because he does actually have a channel up about black male studies, and then he just interviewed a whole bunch of YouTube grifting ass niggas over it. Like he interviewed Angerman and fucking O'Shea and all this other shit, right? Had nothing to do with actual inventors and working class people. Blue collar brothers had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do but people who was exploiting black men online. So when Tia Johnson is talking about black male studies online, he's talking about exploiting the problems of black men and never fixing them. This is why these PWIs hire these black pieces of shit to actually teach at their university, so that way they can have this buck dancing coon on a goddamn stick, because they know he ain't gonna fucking do shit and challenge their fucking power. And he'll do that shit for $80,000 or $90,000 a year to mislead a whole group of his own fucking people, which is why they hire these dumb motherfuckers in the first place.
Oh boy.
Because Cornell West been teaching for how long at that university, and lo and behold, dumb intellectual. And I used to like Cornell West, so I found out he was just a dumb intellectual, just a Thomas Sowell class. Just
I mean, it looked like Terrain Walker, ignorant ass, have taken over the black male studies grift when it comes to shit online. But at the end of the day, that's just what it is, man. At the end of the day, if you're looking for black male studies and you want some shit that looks like you got to go accomplish shit, man. Because these YouTube grifters ain't gonna do nothing for you. That's how come you don't see them in your community. Because if you did, somebody would walk up to them and instantly get stolen on some bullshit. They would never allow nobody a 400-pound hair hat to just walk up in their fucking community, calling themselves a masculinist and getting you to fight women. You know, people think something wrong with you.
Fuck that.
Right?
You know, I wonder.
All right, so let's keep going. Go ahead, Big Bear.
I wonder, does the women's studies class know about this? I'm just saying. Go ahead. Never mind me.
No, I mean, but this shit is obviously a grift. You never seen him actually debate nobody. Like, you can only talk this shit from a closet in a corner somewhere. Like, if you can actually get challenged real time by actual people, you're gonna look fucking crazy. You're gonna look real stupid. But at the end of the day, a lot of these people want specialized representation that leads them to nowhere because they're just full of shit. So let's keep going.
Worldview that accounted for how black men perceive the world and how those perspectives are inherently gendered but are often ignored.
Man.
So, and when we get to the 19-point black male political agenda, which was obviously not always 19 points, as we begin to develop it, what we found is that more and more black men agreed on ideas that we had not ever actually heard articulated aloud before. Nobody had ever said these things. Matter of fact, I tried to find if there was a black male political agenda that had ever existed. Now, I am happy to be wrong.
Because you never gonna find that shit. Like, bro, listen, you're creating a thing from 42,000 politically ignorant, dumb motherfuckers who don't know shit about politics. They want their name on shit, but they don't want a coalition build with anybody. Black men themselves, 5% of the fucking population. How the fuck are you going to get something with just your fucking name on it passed through a House and a Senate, 50 fucking states, 435 members of fucking Congress for just you and nobody the fuck else? Unbelievable that something like that would happen. But at the end of the day, these people are pretending like because shit ain't got their name on it, they don't want to fucking participate in the process. Nah, man, it's just that this dude teaches at the PWI so that we can push this Thomas Sowell level bullshit, man. It's fucking nuts.
Wrong. If there's a historian out there or someone that's, inherited some documentation from an elder or a scholar that knows something, an old guy out there that just knows something, please send me the information. But
no, nigga, it's your job to fucking do the research. Not the people's job to do the research for you and fucking hand it off to you. That's your job. You know how to do research. Why is it somebody else's job to figure out something that was just no, that you got to do this stuff yourself. This is what I mean. Like, dude, listen. Okay. If somebody using the word black is normally a fucking grip, okay? If it's not in academia, if it's not being actually open fucking debated, if you have to go behind the wall or to a special Patreon page for black male studies, chances are you're being fucking grifted. Chances are. It's something that's meant for your intellectual and psychological fucking weaknesses. It is not meant for you to have progress. You think somebody who spent 20 years of fucking academia is trying to help you get $100,000 a year fucking job and dodge crazy fucking bitches? Are you fucking kidding me? He wants you beneath him. Why the fuck would he create somebody better than him if he ain't there?
Yeah.
But so far, I have never found another black male political agenda. Now, there have been several that have popped up over the last few years. I haven't found one older than ours.
They're all grifts. That's
why.
why.
Are not as in depth. But what that tells me is that black men never thought about our own political interests separately from the black community. I, in my lifetime, had never.
We've always talked
What?
about it. Like, what the fuck? Like, we've never thought about it, bro. Like, ever thought about it? You just the first motherfucker who just wanted to talk about the black male. You, just you, who you just thought about it, right? No one else thought about it. Just you.
Did he just say the black male agenda without the black community, separate from the black community?
Yes. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue. All right.
Dude, I keep telling you, man. Dude, listen. If you find a 400-pound hair hat who teaches at a PWI, who try to get you to fight in the weakest ways fucking possible, there's a real reason why you've never seen this in your community, because you would never see it in your community.
Ever heard any policies designed around black males? The closest I heard were dealing with incarceration. But even in the language of it never designated black males as a separate demographic. It talked about, the black incarcerated, which included women, right? Even if we knew it was kind of targeted at black men, the language would rarely point that direction.
Because black people, like whites, view black people, whether you black male or black woman, it's the same fucking person.
That's exactly.
And it's impossible that you don't fucking know this.
That's exactly. They deal with you as a group, as opposed to dealing with you from a gender perspective. That's how they deal with you.
Dude, it's impossible that he don't know this. But then again, if you're looking at this resume, you hear this motherfucker talk, there's a reason why you teach at Fresno State. It's a reason why.
Because if he was somewhere in Mississippi,
I thought about a given issue related to incarceration to some extent.
Dude, this dude wouldn't be able to teach at Mississippi Valley. He wouldn't be able to teach at fucking Jackson State. He wouldn't be able to teach in a Delta State. He wouldn't be able to teach nowhere in Mississippi.
Right.
On this
for him, right. For him to say all of that, Like, listen, he wouldn't be at Prairie View A&M in Prairie View in Texas. He wouldn't be over even in Texas. He wouldn't be saying this. You know, it's asinine. You know, for
But
him to
look,
say that.
but but at the end of the day, he's trying to create a victim class that he can grift off of, though. This is deliberate. It ain't accidental.
I know.
It's
I
deliberate.
know.
Stand around men, but I never thought of politics outside of incarceration. I never thought about the other issues black men face. And part
You never thought about politics outside of fucking incarceration? Who the fuck says that? You're 50. 50 fucking years old, and you ain't never fucking thought of that? Ever?
Hey,
Oh my God.
What is this? What is this? What the fuck? All right, man, let me just keep going, man.
the reason I never thought of those things, and many of us never did, is because we weren't taught to. There were no issues. The fundamental idea was that black women understood racism. And they understood racism to the extent that anything black men experienced, they experienced. The uniqueness of the black experience, however, was theirs because they were gendered, right? So it was women's uniqueness that gave them a different vantage point that made it important that they have their own separate discourse. And most of us shut up because we were taught that was the way to go. I mean, we were all black, men and women, young and old, straight and gay. So we're all black, stay in your space. But when it comes to gender, women have a unique thing. And we got to talk about this unique thing. We never actually said that men actually do have something to say about gender on their own terms. So when we started developing the agenda, when we came up with ideas, we thought initially that many of these ideas would just be accepted because we're black men, we're talking about issues pertinent to black men, this is thus black, and therefore the community in and of itself should support it. What we started to find, and what many men began to report to me, is no matter if it was just one point they brought up or all of them, intense arguments began to happen at the very mention of some of the specific ideas listed here. Obviously, especially those in the family court reform section, right? Because this went against many black women's interests because it began to question the resources that were deemed theirs by the court. It began to question the court itself. It began to question policy. And this was something that frustrated a lot of women that were quite content with being the de facto parent in the eyes of
God.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this before I leave, right? Like, nigga, you like, bro, there's laws already passed already, and wasn't black, and like you said earlier, black women was spearheading for child support reform.
In Tennessee, they were. Tennessee,
right.
Women did that.
Right.
Exclusively did that.
Now I'm thinking about contacting again the person who wrote the bill. Because like, we got to settle some of these lame ass arguments.
Yeah,
it's time to start.
It's futile. They still gonna they. I mean, the argument's being settled. They just gonna continue on with the grift. I've come to realize people talking once they have a viewpoint or a talking point, they're not gonna deviate from it. You can show them all the data, facts, statistics. You can show them who. You can bring that up to them about the law. They ain't want to listen to that. They just want to.
Right.
They. I mean, you could show them. They not gonna listen to it. Trust me. I experienced that whenever I helped my cousin out run for town council, and they not. Ain't nobody. But in this social media sphere on YouTube and social media channels, once they have their talking point and they little following, what they just gonna feed them red meat to keep them happy.
All right, but anyway, thank you for having me on, man. Tomorrow, MOT, so I'm gonna
Cool,
get off
man.
of here. I appreciate Nagomi Prince. So
All right, Big J.
All right.
Yeah, man. We only got not much more of this foolishness to go through, but foolishness it is that we're going to play anyway. So it's just too much. I mean, a guy who was 50 years old said that he never thought about politics outside of incarceration and said it out loud as if it was a profound statement. It's fucking asinine, bro.
Boy, this is bad.
I mean, but
Um,
what can you say at this point? So he creates a victimhood class of black men. Then he just repeatedly grifts off of the fact that these people just don't know what's going on in politics because they never wanted to. They wanted to leave it up to other people to get shit done, and then they wanted to blame the women for the gains that they were getting, and then they expected all the gains that the women actually fought for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wanted to actually get all the gains that the women fought for, and somehow he was owed access to all the shit that everybody else fought for. It's unreal. Like, there are people in this space, right? There are people who are ignorant as hell. We know they're running the grift, right? That doesn't really apply to a person who has a PhD, teaches at a PWI. It doesn't apply to him. He has enough ability to go research this stuff before he goes and put it out. There's no real reason for him to be this dumb and actually say out loud that, oh, I've never thought of political issues outside of that. It's like, dude, you can't say nothing that's stupid out loud. You really can't say nothing that's stupid out loud.
Mm.
Again, all these things that are posted in the actual chat, it's nothing but an emotionally coded list of dumbass black men's complaint. That's why family court reform is number one. Because apparently motherfuckers are not interested in equal protection under the law. They're just worried about child support. Nah, I'm not buying that shit.
Go ahead, MOT.
Between the family court and the pill, we could just talk about those two. There's plenty more to add. I mean, on my blog, which you're looking at here when you're looking at the Black Male Political Agenda, I have an article that maps out 16 different aspects of the Black gynocracy and how it formed.
Oh my God.
Giving you intellectual cover for being weak. That's all it is.
Jesus.
They want to give you intellectual cover for being fucking weak. And that's what these people do. They hide in academia and they come up with these intellectual sounding things that make you look like a damn fool when you go across other people. Oh my God, nobody appeals to me. Like, yeah, because you sound like a fucking moron.
Put them on Fox News, and they would get embarrassed and make all of them look stupid.
Oh yeah, all day.
You took the pill, and you took the family court.
How does birth control pill affect black men? How does the birth control pill affect contraception? Is somehow against black male interests. How's contraception against black male interests? It's called family fucking planning, bro.
Underestimate how much power that gave women. Complete control over their own reproductive process.
Did you hear that?
I
Yes,
mean, I
Did
heard
you
it.
hear
I
that?
mean,
Did you hear
yes.
that?
Yes.
So this dude is teaching at a PWI, and he thinks that he's going to talk
as of the court. Right? A great deal of black women's power to structure the family came from the family court. And the family court helped to really establish and enhance the capacities of the Black gynocracy because they were able to control the family. Between the family court and the pill, we can just talk about those two. There's
But who decided to mess with those women anyway, if that's the case? Is that the family court's fault too?
plenty more to
No.
add. I mean, on my blog, which you're looking at here when you're looking at the Black male political agenda, I have an article that maps out 16 different aspects of the Black gynocracy and how it formed. But if you just took the pill and you took the family court, most of us drastically underestimate how much power that gave women. Complete control over their own reproductive process and the capacity through the law to dictate who can participate and who can be repelled from the family while still paying to subsidize that family. That's a great deal of power, especially in a relatively politically powerless community that is fundamentally poor, or at least lower in wealth than any other group. This is a profound shift that we take as normal because we grew up seeing it, hearing about it. Women want us to think it's normal, so we'll maintain it into the future, but it's actually skewed. The political progress of the Black community has stunted Black males and advanced Black females, often at the expense of Black males, and we've learned to support it as progressive.
What? 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 The political progress of Black men have stunted Black male growth.
That can be taken many different directions. Or what? I didn't tell nobody to go out there and commit no crime. You decided not to better yourself. I didn't tell you to go sell no drug. You decide, but it's the same old gibberish. Talking in circle. Some talking point. You just gonna talk in a circle, and I mean,
I'm so
again,
far.
guy has a PhD in Africana studies, and it's not about the degree. There's many people who have a degree in other things. It's about what you do after the degree is over with. There are plenty of people who attach themselves to organizations and they do great things with their PhDs. I have 7 in my class of 75 people, 7 PhDs. I think 5 women, 2 men. And none of them even talk anywhere close to this. All of them are active in their community. Most of them are principals at schools. We got a chiropractor and an actual MD doctor. The rest of them are active like hell in the community. But none of these people try to scapegoat Black progress to make it look like it was women only. That's just crazy.
Aggressive Black men, because we were told this is what it meant to be good Black men.
No,
but
you're not a progressive. Whoa. You're not a progressive. You're a regressive. You're trying to get people to fight useless and meaningless battles while you sit your 400-pound hair hat up there and keep playing fucking victim. It's fucking bullshit. Call yourself a masculinist. Never fucking explain that term, by the way. What the fuck does that mean? You worried about the gynocracy. Women you ain't even fucking dating. You worried about them having power over you when you don't even fuck with them like that.
Having these conversations,
mad at them because they decided to participate.
Hell, if you start talking about education and prioritizing black boys, you're going to find a number of women taking serious issue. I mean, we saw this with the My Brother's Keeper program, right? The mere mention of a program that was technically for Black and Latino males, it wasn't federally funded, but the mere mention of it pissed Black women off to no end. Even though they already had a White House Council for Women and Girls that men never complained about, white or Black. Men never complained about it. But the mere mention of My Brother's Keeper sent women into a frenzy. And immediately they set up a national a protest against it. Across the board. Until it became effectively toothless by the end of it. Because if girls couldn't get access to it, it was going to be torn down to the ground. And that's just one point in the agenda. Not My Brother's Keeper particularly, but the focus on education in Black males. So I'm merely showing you that some of these policies that we're proposing pissed women off to no end. And
These are not policy proposals. These are emotional grift complaints that you took to nobody, no party. You claim like you was going to when the Democrats had an office, a house in office, but once the Republicans got in charge, dude, you completely dropped this shit and went on to start talking about movie reviews. Your job was complete. Get black women out of power. That's what he wanted. He didn't care. Just as long as they didn't have any power. Period. As long as they didn't have any programs for him. Period. And that's why your ass work at a PWI. So that way you can fight for white fucking interests while you pretending that you care about black men while fucking doing so. Fucking animal.
we were, many of us were surprised at first because women have been doing this for the longest. They never created a central list that we knew of, but we did see them, creating their own political focus that didn't include us, and we learned to support it. But when men started to create their own interests, they met this with fury. Well, it was two things. Either they ignored it or they were furious. And then you started to see black women politicians like Kamala Harris and the one in Atlanta whose name escapes me, Stacey Abrams. They created these faux black male political agendas, which were basically Democrat policies that everybody benefited from anyway. So it was kind of like, if I'm talking about...
That's what you're supposed to do! That's exactly what you're supposed to do, dumb nigga! That's the whole part of politics!
Hold up.
God damn,
what was his third party? What was their agenda at for black men?
Jill Stein had no fucking plan.
The third party, the Green Party. Is...
Jill Stein never had no plan. None.
No plan.
The Libertarian candidate had no fucking plan. None. But at the end of the day, he just recited that how politics is actually played. You're supposed to have it for everybody. That's how it gets passed. Like, these people just want black men name on it and only, and when it don't pass, boo-hoo. It's like, dude, listen. These are statistics. The only thing you have to do is make a statistic-based argument and you cover everybody. That's how you get covered.
That's right.
Because the statistics is going to be skewed worse for you than any other group.
That's right.
I would never think of putting black man name on a motherfucking thing. I wouldn't do that. That's how you don't get this shit passed.
They done research on any bill that's passed in Congress. It's like and it pertaining to black people, it's a 60% chance that it won't pass. So you can't I tried to explain to a couple guys at the little community center that, look, in order to get our agenda anything for that's going to benefit us, you're going to have to compromise a few things, and you're going to have to disguise it. So what? Somebody else going to benefit. Guess what? You don't want to go down there and fill out the paperwork. You just want somebody to come here and give it to you. It don't work like that.
Man, listen, move on from these individuals who believe this type of nonsense. And look, there's a lot of Delta Novembers who actually do believe this.
Yeah.
Okay? There's a lot of people who don't want to follow directions. No follow do, can't follow instructions, can't coalition build, but they can sit around and be grifted. They can sit around and listen to Tariq Nasheed. They can do that. But they cannot think their way politically about how to get things actually done. And we should move on from doing business with these people. Dude, leave those areas, move to an area that actually works, produce, be there, and just have a good life. Leave these people alone. Leave these people in these areas that don't work and leave them without representation. And do not allow these people to talk about politics around you, because this guy right here is the guy that they're looking for. They're looking for a guy to give them a shoulder to cry on and give them no progress. That's why these PWIs hire black motherfuckers like this. So that way they can have somebody that demoralizes the shit out of their own fucking people and don't give them progress. So that way they could just hold a fucking job. Fucking disgusting.
Getting a discount at a grocery store specific to black males. What they did was they grabbed all the coupons in the newspaper and said, here, black males, these are for you. They're the same coupons everybody else already gets. That's essentially what both of their black male political agendas did. And because you could put in black male political agenda and find this, and at the time, last 5 or 6 years, it was really the only one you could find. You can't tell me that these women didn't see this list with their cabinets, the people they work with, the think.
But your blackmail a political agenda, you have to pay $20 for. You got to pay $20 for this fucking list, and you didn't take it to nobody. You didn't take it to nobody. You didn't take nobody during the Trump administration. You took it to nobody during the Biden administration, and with the Trump administration right now, you took it to nobody. And you created shit in 2020, and you still didn't take it to nobody. Still, he did the same thing Ice Cube did, and he still didn't take it to nobody. Listen, if your own politics don't work, that's on you. I don't want to hear shit about somebody's area not working and you stayed there for fucking 30 or 40 years. Man, fuck out my face with that. You should have moved your ass on to another area. All right? People who live in Oklahoma, I know, they know their politics is fucked up. You don't hear them talk the grand amount of shit that you hear most of these other dudes talk about when it comes to their political area. Just crazy.
Aints didn't see the list we were creating. But they weren't going to meet the needs of them because it would disrupt Black women's access. So they took the name or something generally like it, right? They took credit for it. But when you start talking about affirmative action for Black men, targeted homeless programs, criminal law reform, intimate partner violence policies, right? Targeted health programs, you start talking about these issues. Title VII reform, please. They're not trying to hear that. False accusation offender registry, and most particularly GI Bill reparations. Come on.
You really think they're going to create a blackmail only GI Bill reparations bill? Who the fuck thinks that? Who the fuck thinks that? 2026.
Not going to happen.
They get rid of DEI programs, but they don't even want to hire smart kids for shit. But somehow they're going to create some fucking lowball, catch-all fucking GI Bill for fucking, man.
They were not trying to hear it. And my only point in bringing this up is that even though we did what we saw Black women do, we began to think for ourselves as a separate, distinct demographic. We began to raise policy suggestions.
You can't think as a separate demographic if you do not show up to fucking vote. If you do not declare a fucking side. If you outwardly fucking disregard the political fucking process, nobody fucks with you. Black women pick the fucking side. 80, 90%, they pick the fucking side. Organize for a fucking side. Every time I go to fucking vote, you know who's passing out flyers? Black women are. You know who's doing the fucking getting the signatures for the next ballot measures? Not even white women, not even Asian women, not even Latino women.
Preach.
Black women are doing that shit. They are always doing that fucking shit. Why the fuck shouldn't their needs come first? And they're the one doing all the fucking work. I know. I'm not out there doing that shit, but here's the thing. Every tax levy I'm voting for, every tax increase I'm voting for, vote for all this shit. I want the nicest shit ever. So that way we could bar all you unproductive motherfuckers from even living here. Fuck y'all. You want to live in an area that don't fucking work? That's on you. You want to listen to this 400-pound fucking hair hat fucking tell you about how to be a black male victim from a fucking white PWI making like 80 grand a fucking year so that way your area can stay fucked up while he living in the lap of fucking luxury of fucking liberalism? That's on your goofy ass.
Proposals that would enhance and improve the quality of life of Black males across age, class, across geography, across education, across occupation. We thought maybe this would be somewhat supported. But as individual men began to talk to the women in their lives about the specific policy ideas, I can't tell you how many men reached out to me to tell me that
You really think these dumb niggas are fucking talking to women about policy proposals? They're not doing that. Dude, these people are attracted to relationship bullshit online and GOAT conversations between Kobe, LeBron, and fucking Michael Jordan. These motherfuckers are not talking about no motherfucking policy proposals.
Yep.
Fucking dummies.
The house broke into a severe argument, or the family reunion, or the Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner.
You really think a Christmas dinner is gonna be fucking interrupted by a black fucking dude, most likely a Delta November, talking about some fucking politics at the fucking Thanksgiving table.
Oh my gosh.
Who the fuck think that's likely?
Unlikely.
Now, I would expect the Delta November to talk about child support reform in these type of circumstances exclusively, but I wouldn't expect them to talk about anything else. That's why I don't even fight
Well,
for
I
child
mean,
support.
that's all they're gonna do is talk. They ain't gonna participate in the process of getting that change.
Of course not, man. Digital porch monkeys, man. They just sit here, laptop open, backlit keyboard, typing up all this bullshit, live streaming, not really fucking doing nothing, not really trying to engage with the politics at all on this fucking, undocumented immigrant fucking lifestyle, man.
Boosting,
you just gonna hide
boosting
out for the
people.
political process and things just gonna work out for you. Fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
Discussions. I mean,
boosting people. If you don't give them
you
my
know,
16-point
at first
agenda,
when they said the political agenda, it wasn't like women liked it, but they just kind of seemed to tolerate it just on the surface until you started to get into the weeds and you started to talk specifically about the various 19 points. And what many men, communicated to me was the intense hostility that they got. Now, why am I talking about this? The initial
Okay.
was raised in my
Okay. The reason why people be hostile with you because that's not how politics work. You don't draw yourself around a 5% population and think the whole world is the whole 95 other percent is about to come to you. Okay. That's not how it works. They get mad because you don't know what the fuck's going on. And you can go get this information about how to do shit. You just decide to do shit on your own and by yourself in a ways and manners that don't make no fucking sense. That's how come people give your ass a side eye. They're supposed to. Because you don't know how shit works. And you're like, just because I'm involved, well, I'm involved. I'm 100% of the process. That's not how that shit works, man. It's
Yep.
never how it works.
Yep. It's a
comment section.
process. How this thing
We
goes.
shut up about black males, the focus on black males and the calling out of the black gynocracy because we lost the right to vote. So we need to shut that shit down and just get back to, just kind of doing that. But here's the problem. We've been doing that. That's the whole reason there wasn't a focus on a black male political agenda before 2020, because black men were catering to black women's worldview.
That wasn't the fucking case, dude. Our fucking interest was always a part. Dude, you keep acting like 2020 when this bullshit fucking agenda that you took to nobody, by the way. You took the shit to nobody. He just crowdsourced a bunch of black male idiots fucking emotional fucking complaints, put it in an agenda and took it to nobody. And they want to make the claim that, oh, well, nobody's ever done this shit before me. Yeah, because they actually got fucking results that didn't require them teaching at a PWI and being a 400-pound fucking hair hat. Talking this bullshit.
Political focus, you name it. We catered to it. We shut up. We never even thought about our own political interests. And trust me when I tell you, the threat against the Voting Rights Act, we come across these threats on a regular basis. The rolling back of civil rights policies, this isn't new. This has been going on for years. This has been going on for decades. They've been trying to roll these things back for years, and they've been successful on a lot of fronts. So this whole idea, it's almost like every 4 years we have a presidential election, and black folk tell you shut up about all these differences and vote Democrat. Just shut up and vote because it's dire, and they give you all the reasons it's dire this time. But most
while he's living in a liberal-run fucking state.
Wow.
Like, he gets his liberalism in his state of California. He don't get why other people would want to vote liberal in like the fucking South where they have no representation. He doesn't get it. This is why you teach at a PWI. This is why you teach at a PWI. Because you're
they've been rolling about. They've been rolling back this stuff for years. Okay, what have you done? Have you done anything to help stop it? Slow down the momentum? No, just sit back. If you don't pass my 16-point agenda, let them keep rolling it back. I don't care.
And what he does to get more of these bullet points is he keeps crowdsourcing black male ignorance and turning it into bullshit fucking talking points. So that way he can pretend like he's giving these people representation that he's not giving them. It's fucking asinine. Now, I would expect this from a person that doesn't teach, doesn't have a PhD, just purely running a political grift. But a person who teaches at a fucking university doing this shit is fucking asinine. That's why I say he's the worst PhD by far. By far. Here. Ron Neal is the second. But this guy's definitely number one. Definitely number one. Because of how full of shit he is.
So those reasons are the same 4 years ago. And 4 years before that. There's always a new emergency that's dire. And we got to shut up and just get in line and vote for. But that practice, that
no, it's about picking the fucking side and staying there and working within the fucking process. While these people are like sitting in the fucking concession stands trying to fucking buy tater chips and shit. Hey man, the game's on. The game, that's what we're here for. And it's like you have to keep going to these Delta Novembers and asking them, hey man, did you pick a side yet? No, man, I just I just have a lot of issues. It's like, bro, ain't nobody got time for this dumbass shit, man. Pick a side, please, bro.
It's
Bro,
the same.
even if it's Republican, pick a side, get over there, stay on your side, fight for shit. Do what everybody else do. If you don't do what everybody else do, I'm gonna think you're mentored and you can't be helped.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Information Man, Tilson. They come up the same right wing talking point, and we're gonna deflect everything back to Democrats. It's the Democrats' fault.
And only Democrats only. And I'm just saying, man, the black on black crime rate it isn't that high. It can't be that high. This type of shit going on can't be that high. Never that high. These dudes show no fucking fear. YNs, get to work. Jesus. Y'all can shoot random motherfuckers, but dude like this is just allowed to just breathe. All right, man. All right, YNs, man. You know, you niggas are disappointing.
Approach, that philosophy doesn't work. Because we eventually do. I mean, black men vote Democrat to the second highest degree out of any other demographic, right under black women. And what do we get for it? But more than that, I'm not asking the question about what the black community gets for voting Democrat. I'm asking the question what black men get. And much of the time we get nothing. So I'm not being apolitical and suggesting that we ignore politics altogether. What I'm saying is,
oh, nigga, you are being apolitical and pretending that shit that happens with black people exclude black men. Bro, you are being apolitical and ahistorical and being deliberately fucking obtuse on purpose. You are. Please don't play dumb. You know that by in 2026, acting like you ain't never got nothing out of the political process when things have happened with black people is fucking asinine. And anyone who needs to actually need to be brought up to speed need a complimentary and immediate non-refundable stolo. I could bring you up to speed, but we're gonna have to drop off this shit slapped in order to bring you up there. Because we need a way for you to absorb the information. And it is never going to be absorbed without an immediate stole on first.
we need to double down on the black male political agenda. We need to double down on our own political interests. We need to be full-throated about our concerns, whether it be...
You don't have political interests because you don't organize. That's how come you don't have interests. So this grifter is trying to get you to fight ineffectively in your state while he lives under the lap of liberalism in his state. You see, his vote doesn't need to matter in California. Shit's already taken care of. Less than 4% of the fucking vote. They don't need black people for shit there. Because they're going to make sure everything else fucking works. And they're not going to allow you to get some foothold so that we can push all this bullshit. At the end of the day, they participate in the process. Their shit's nice. So nice that they get to float everybody else's third world experiment all over the rest of the country. Six largest economists in the world, and these dudes are still trying to pretend that California ain't a good state to fucking live in. What? You teach at you teach a useless nigga course at a fucking university on some DEI shit, because you can't mean to tell me that people at Fresno State is just signing up for your motherfucking Africana Studies class. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
Couple more minutes of that, maybe 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Bear with me.
About intimate partner violence, intimate partner homicide, whether it be about health treatment and resources directed toward issues that Black men face that everybody else ignores. We need to talk about Black male voter disenfranchisement.
That's part of Black people disenfranchisement, you stupid motherfucker. Remember that article that you read earlier that you wrote that you chose from a right wing fucking site? So that way you didn't have to fucking address the entire issue, so that way you can start complaining about women in the middle of it. Yeah, they consider Black men part of fucking Black people when they're disenfranchising people.
And that is exactly how they look at that.
Jesus.
We need to double down on their issues, not just the agenda itself, but Black male political issues. This is not the time for us to be quiet because civil rights policies have been under threat. They've been under threat. They're always going to be under threat. And I'm not suggesting we ignore that. What I'm suggesting is we address it through our political interests, not by throwing them away. Because here's the problem. Even if we shut up and toe the line, Black women are not. I just showed you last week. They threw an 8,000 Black woman event primarily fixated on both getting Kamala back into the next election and focusing on their own political interests as subsidized by white liberal women. Feminists.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what, and they act like men wasn't there.
Oh man.
He act like when with Black men, like the Roland Martin shit ain't a thing. But see, if you're a political Delta November and you listen to this, you start to think that you're being represented by somebody who literally is benefiting off of your political inability to understand how things work. Listen, in Denver, they don't have those people. You get your ass up there, you grab the microphone, you say some dumb shit, we're going to come see you. And if we ever see you again, it will be the last time anybody sees you. This is what's going on here. We don't see you, we don't know you. Don't make us come back. This is what's going on here. These flyers go on your door in this actual community. We don't know who you are, we never seen you. Don't pretend like shit ain't happening. Shit's always happening. The point is, we don't see you out here. So if you want to be famous, we'll be back. And then you just don't hear from them again. That's it. But these people are allowed to live in these liberal areas and push all this fucking bullshit and pretend like they some type of a victim. It's strange.
About Black male concerns. None. So shut up and toe the line doesn't do anything for Black males. It doesn't do anything for the Black community. And I'm not going to stand for it. So if you're coming over here to my platform to ask me to shut up, to focus on any other group other than us, no, not going to happen. We've tried that. It got us nowhere.
Here, man.
And my
listen. Hey, man, just teach it that PWI. Keep running your Black male grip, victimhood grift, and anybody who falls for it deserve exactly what they get. Fucking nothing. All right. Dr. Tierson Johnson is the worst fucking PhD in the Black Manosphere, hands down. Only because he actually teaches at a school, deliberately tried to run this grift, and there ain't no real need for it. The only thing you have to do, you know how you get rid of apathy? Understanding. You know how you get rid of not knowing what the fuck's going on? Understanding. You keep deliberately disregarding the political process, and then you need to be brought up to speed. Nobody's bringing you up to speed. I'm going to treat you like a plant, treat you like you need to be immediately stole on, and you need to get the fuck out of my face. Okay? My area in Colorado works just fine. Your area doesn't work because you're not a part of the process. Yes, they need to tell you to shut the fuck up. Pick a side and operate within the actual lines of what the side is that you pick. It's not hard. It's very easy.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, you got these dumb motherfuckers who can't color in between the lines and shit, man. Bro, I ain't got time for that. Who has time to help people in a democracy pick a side when there's a two-party system? Who is about to waste that type of time? It ain't me.
Damn.
Listen, you want to listen to this relationship talk? Go right ahead. Like the thumbnail says, you're going to be stuck to her forever. She's going to ride your ass right back into that fucking community. And Keisha, eat up. Eat up. Leave no mess. I want this motherfucker gone. Gone. Take it for everything. Gone. Get him out of here. So, anything else, Question Prince, before we get up out of here?
All I gotta say is I participated. I decided to get my hand dirty, participate in actual. It is brutal. You got to fight tooth and nail for everything that you want. Sitting back on the couch is not gonna get you nowhere. The grift is real.
We're talking about people who voted the couch are wondering why the Voting Rights Act left. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And are making excuses for why they didn't participate, making excuses for why it's, for how this came down and how they're not responsible. And in fact, this thing is not, in fact, as bad as they want to say it is at all. It's unbelievable, some of the shit we're hearing from these people. Unbelievable.
Look, I'm cool with it. At the end of the day, if your area don't work, you have to ask yourself, why the fuck do you live there after getting stolen? Because I'm not trying to hear this shit out of these people who's trying to grief the process and don't understand what's going on. That's a you problem. It's like asking me how come you ain't wiped your own ass. Just shit that you shouldn't even be talking about, right? But that's what I'm on, man. So Nagon, you got anything else before we get up out of here?
Thank you for inviting me up, MOT.
And again, Dr. Tierson Johnson is the worst PhD within this space. If you want to fall for black male victimhood, or you want a 400-pound hair hat to actually mislead you in your local politics, you can sign up to the Black Male Studies course that apparently is just fucking happening online. And you niggas have a rest and all nice night. And before we go, a word from our sponsor and our actual spiritual advisor, who's never wrong about very specific things. So before we go, we need a word from Charles Manson. Take it away, Charlie.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left.